fan.
everybody's a Padme fan.
Yeah. And so tonight's question is, what if Padme survived childbirth? And it's that question, sort of, would the outcome have changed? I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, obviously it would have changed, but to what extent? How would have Padme played into the Galactic Civil War? Would there even be a giant mega galactic civil war? Who knows? I'll open it up to both of you. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ray.
All right, I'll go first. I guess for me, the hardest thing to imagine is Anakin going over to the dark side if she had survived. That to me is the biggest thing that would change, because all of that rage and hatred in him might then have been contained. It almost goes back to what we were saying during our cantina conversation. Would he have left the Jedi Order completely, just to say, you know what, sorry guys, I can't do this, and gone off to live a peaceful married life somewhere? I don't know, but I think that without him as a central figure on the dark side and leading the dark side, then it changes the Empire's whole makeup and all of it, and their tactics and how powerful they are. But I think she would have just turned him back to the light side. So that's sort of my initial place where I land on this. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be quite the opposite, because I don't think Padme would have pursued Anakin had she survived. I don't think she would have wanted him to. Oh, she would have wanted him to come back to the light side. I'm not going to argue that point. But I just think he would be too far gone that she would have seen sort of the sacrifice that I don't know how to describe it. Like, there's no way she would have just been like, hey, let's go out to dinner. Let's talk this out. Right? I don't think so, because I think
I don't mind that you killed all those Tusken children.
Right. And plus you have Obi-Wan chirping in her ear about how bad Anakin is too, right? And now, does Obi-Wan and Anakin have their duel on Mustafar? Does he become trapped in the Vader suit? I don't think so. I think, Anakin, the Emperor sort of gets a hold of Anakin, and you have human Anakin burning the galaxy to the ground because he's so pissed off that the love of his life joins the rebellion, which I think she would, right? Joins the rebellion, fights with the remaining Jedi, and he would stop at nothing to just burn it all down, destroy everything in his path. And I think it would elevate his wrath and his rage. Because the only thing I think that was subduing Darth Vader post Padme's death was regret and remorse and sadness. Okay? Without Padme's death, those go away, and Anakin's rage, hatred, and just general pissed offness, that's a word, don't look it up, just is exacerbated.
Word.
Yeah, it's just exacerbated, and he just goes off, and he becomes a one-man Death Star, just going after anyone that opposes him. That's how I see it.
Wow.
All right, so Card Crazy, which way are you going?
I want to take a third opinion. So here's where I'm at. I think if Padme had survived, Anakin would have had so much more doubt and inner conflict. So before I continue that point, remember, one of the things that the Emperor was trying to do this whole time was gain 100% control, because he knew if he did that he could grow the Anakin of the old into the Vader that he needed to be. But Padme lives, Anakin goes to the dark side and continues with conflict. Not just the whole Obi-Wan, it's worse. It's 1,000 times worse, because to your point, she's alive now, he's thinking about her. So here's where I'm at. In some of those first books where the Emperor Palpatine takes Vader out, and he, by the way, he's challenging him and putting him through trials. If you read the books, Vader wasn't necessarily 100% trusted right out of the gate. There were a lot of trials he had to go through. I think Palpatine would have destroyed Vader and killed him, just like he did Dooku when somebody else came along that had more potential, because Vader would have only been 70% committed, not 100%. He wouldn't have had all that hate. He would have only had 3/4 of the hate. The Emperor would have seen that as a weakness, and he would have killed him.
Yeah, I love that. No, I think
I love that too, and I also love envisioning, if we're going in this direction, what then is Padme's role in the rebellion? You know, I think we've talked about sort of crazy theories or whatever, and this idea that, oh, well, what if Padme had survived and she was actually Mon Mothma or whatever? I think she would have had a very leading role, and that would have fueled exactly that kind of regret, doubt, all of it. Now I'm picturing, because in some of the books, right, Palpatine is pitting Vader against, is it Zizor, right? And it's like, oh, okay, so Zizor might have come out on top because now Vader has all these reasons to hold back.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I think the whole Palpatine destroying Anakin is a fascinating thing to think about, and I think you're absolutely correct. No longer useful, too volatile. Could he go back to the light side? Could Padme drag him back? Not worth the risk. Destroys Anakin. Yeah, not worth my time. Destroys Anakin. But then but with Padme at the helm, along with all the other rebel heroes, does the rebellion succeed that much quicker and easier?
Maybe so.
Imagine she would have had Luke and Leia under her tutelage from the start.
I was just going to say that.
They're not in hiding anymore, so they're being raised by Padme to be this awesome, right? Could you imagine Luke if he had that kind of training from the get-go?
Exactly.
Instead of coming to it at age 18, right?
And having Yoda and Obi-Wan together, training the both of them, Luke,
and maybe even Ahsoka.
And they never would have kissed each other, so all that would have been
yeah, right.
And well, that would have wrecked my childhood if Leia and Luke didn't kiss. But
That's right. Would she still have had the buns, Ray? Could she still have the buns?
She still have the buns.
Okay, so all right, then I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm okay with it then. Yeah. No, I with Padme surviving, it's is that what? Because I always used to think, like, is that what turned the galaxy down the dark path for good, right? Or not, for whereas, the Civil War, Padme survives. Order 66 might still happen, but with this leader, because she's known throughout the galaxy from her time on Naboo, she's known to the inner circle. She's trusted by the upper crust of leadership that would, become the leaders of the rebellion. Does she become the lightning rod that just takes out Darth Sidious for good? And I didn't even think about that, right? Like, because growing up with the original trilogy, Vader is supreme. I remember my head exploded when there was someone more powerful than Vader, like, shows up on screen, right?
You sort of don't even realize that.
What do you mean there's an emperor? What? Yeah. Like, that doesn't make sense. And again, and then seeing in the prequels and how Palpatine manipulated him. I feel like, Palpatine would just, I think you're right, Card Crazy, just brush him off to the side, throw his lightsaber in the pile with Dooku and Maul and all the others that were, killed and destroyed. And then maybe would he go after Luke? Would he try to kidnap Luke? Would he try to clone Anakin? Would he try to, what path would he have taken to do that?
We need a what if. Yeah, we need Disney to come out with a Star Wars what if that carries through that scenario and tells us what happened.
Yeah, no, it'd be amazing.
I love this because it just goes to show, again, like, fans are so wedded to this idea of the Skywalker saga, where we think the Skywalkers are the center of the universe because that was the first trilogy that we were given. But what if this is just one tiny story? What if Palpatine had 10 other Anakins, sort of on the sidelines of like, oh, maybe this is my person that I can, right? And if Anakin failed, then he just gets rid of him and he goes on to the next guy. And it's just one tiny little piece of his larger power. And like you say, when you first realize that there's an emperor, it is like, as a kid, you're like, oh, okay, Vader's the bad guy. Oh no, he's actually just kind of a puppet. So
that's right.
Yeah. So interesting. And we'll get together. We'll put our heads together. We'll write the what if novel.
I like it.
Padme lives.
And then we'll
That'd
make
be
a whole bunch
amazing.
of beautiful cards about it and make prints.
Yes.
Yes.
And then I can put them
All
behind
right.
my glass. Yes.
There you go. Yeah. I'm in. Count me in. That's a great
Let's do
idea.
it.
Awesome. All right. Well, that was awesome. That was really good. And that's why I love talking Star Wars with fellow Star Wars fans, because these angles and these thoughts that you never would have thought yourself just kind of come to the forefront, and it just changes your whole galaxy view. I almost said world view. Your whole galaxy view. You know? But yeah, so that brings us to the end.